Hello guys, my name is Aditya and we are in the second video of Pandas tutorial. In the first video we have covered these 4 points and today we'll be covering some few more points. Okay, so let me just run this and we'll be using the IRIS dataset. We can use any dataset. So we have loaded the IRIS dataset. Now see, let me just rename this as data. Now the first topic that we'll be covering today is accessing the data from data frame using loc and iloc. Okay, so what is loc and iloc? Before that, let me just show you how you can get a column or maybe a row from a data frame. Let's say data dot species. If I just write this, then it gives me the complete species column. See, it gives me the complete species column, right? Now I can write this as species in this way as well. Same thing. Okay, either you can write it in this way or you can just write the column name after a dot. Okay, both works fine. Now if you want to get just the first element, okay, the first element, then you can write it like 0. In suppose if this was an array, two-dimensional array, then what we would have done is we would have written 0 first, right, the 0th row and the species column, but here we'll write in this way. Okay, we have to write in this way in pandas. So this is one way to extract data. Other two ways are using loc and iloc. Data dot loc, let's say we want to access uh, the complete 0th row. Okay, then what we can write, data dot loc, not loc, it will be iloc. Okay, because index location where this is index. Okay, this is an index, so index location 0. So see, sepal length 5.1, sepal width 3.5, right, and petal length 1.4, petal length 0.2. So this is how we can access data from data frame using index. So we have to write iloc. And what if we want to just get maybe, let's say, petal length and petal width from the 0th row? Then see, using iloc what we can do is 0, this is the 0th column, 1th column, 2nd column and 3rd column. So we want 2nd column and 3rd column. So what we can write, 2 comma 3 in this way. So we have petal length 1.4 and petal width 0.2. Okay, and if we want to get, let's say, the 0th the second and the third column, this is the second and the third column. Okay, starting from 0. If we want the second and the third column of 0th row and the third row, then what we can do is 0 comma 3, and this will give us 0 and 3, 0 and 3, row number 0 and 3, and the second and the third column. Okay, so in this way we can use this iloc thing. Okay, you can use it as you want, as per the requirement. Okay, this is how iloc is used. And for loc, let's say data dot loc, in location we have suppose, like, if we just want to do this thing, then what we can do is 0 comma 3, and we have to write the names of the columns here. Okay, if we are using loc. If we want to use access the data using the names of the column, then we can use loc. If we want to access using the index, then we can use iloc. Okay, that's the difference. So petal length, let's say just the petal length, so just the petal length. If we want that some other column, let's say species, then it gives us species as well. So this is the main difference between loc and iloc. In loc we can use the names. Okay, if there was some name for index, we would have written here the names as well. Okay, and in iloc we need to write the index, not the names. Okay, so that is the main difference. Whenever you want to access through names, you can use loc. Whenever you want to access through index, you can use iloc. Now moving ahead, see, we have covered the 5th point. Now let's go to the 6th point, accessing data based on condition. Let's say that we want to get all the rows where the sepal length is greater than 5 and the species is Iris setosa. Okay, then what we can do is data directly. Okay, we want all the rows and everything in each row, right? All the attributes in each row. So what we can do is directly write data, and we can give conditions here. The conditions will be data. We can write it this way as well. I'll show you using the dot for the next in the next time. Data dot sepal length is greater than 5, right? We want that the sepal length should be greater than 5 and the species should be Iris setosa. Let me just copy this. Okay, so in pandas we cannot write and or maybe double ampersand. We cannot do this for the AND condition. We have to use a single ampersand for the AND condition, and for OR we simply do this thing. Okay, we do not write double, sorry, like we used to do in C or C++. We don't write it uh, double straight slash. Okay, we just give a single one. And then what we can do is, for now we want AND, right? So let me just write here and data dot species is equal to Iris setosa. Okay, so these are all the required things, right? Required rows that we wanted, right? Everywhere the sepal length is greater than 5 and the species is Iris setosa. Okay, you can add more conditions by giving and or whatever you require, right? So this is how you can extract the data based on condition. You can assign it to something else, like say new data, and new data will hold whatever is shown here, right? New data, and it will not change the previous data. Okay, this data will remain same. Whatever it is extracting it by this condition will be assigned to here, to this new data. Okay, and new data will print the exact same result. Okay, this data is not changed at all. Now see, here also I have shown that the columns can be accessed in this way using a quotes. Okay, or by using a dot operator. In both ways the columns can be accessed. So we are done with accessing data based on conditions. Now let's see how can we get the summary of a column. To get the summary of a column, we use a describe function. Okay, let's say sepal length new data dot sepal length dot describe ib describe. Okay, see, there are 22 elements in this sepal length column. Okay, we can do this in other way as well, like this sepal length. It will also give us the same result. Okay, so there are 22 elements here. The mean is 5.313636. Standard deviation is this. Minimum is 5.1, and in the 25%, that means, see, minimum is like the 0%. Okay, maximum is the 100%. Then these 25, 50 and 75 is the distribution of how this data is distributed, right? So 25% of the data has 5.1, 50% has 5.2, and 75% has 5.8, and the maximum is 5.8. This is the description. This is how we get the summary of a column. Okay, now to get the data type of a column, what we can do is new data dot dtype. Okay, dtypes, I guess. Yes, so using these d types we can get the data type of each of the columns. Okay, Now if we don't want to see the data type of all the columns, since in some data sets there may be thousands of columns, so we don't want to see the data type of all of the columns, so we can just write the column name and we can get the data type, like sepal width, right? Sepal width dot d types. So we get that the data type of this column is, the sepal width column is float 64, float of 64 bits. So this is how we get the data types and the summary. Now the last thing remaining today is writing to CSV. We will be covering this 9th point tomorrow in the next video. Okay, so for today the last thing remaining is writing to a CSV. Suppose this data, whatever we took into data, was the IRIS data set, right? Here we have read the IRIS data set and it has 150 rows. We can get the shape as well, SHAP shape. It has 150 rows and 5 number of columns. And this new data, let's see new data dot shape. It has 22 rows clearly from here, but let's just print the shape and see once. 22 rows and 5 number of columns. So I want to write this new data into a CSV file, right? So what we can do is new data dot to CSV. Okay, and let me just say output.csv. Okay, if I do this, it will, if there is already an output.csv present in the folder, in the same folder where I'm working, okay, then it will overwrite it. If it is not present, then it will create and write whatever this new data is. Okay, let me just do this. So it has done. Now let me just see. So I have this output, right? And if I open this, see, it has written 23 rows. The first row is for the names of the columns, okay, and this is the index, this is the index, whatever the index was present there, and this is the data description. Okay, this is it. So we are done with writing to CSV. In similar ways we can write it to Excel and text files as well. Okay, so there are simple commands like to Excel, and you can search always in the internet. If you don't get, you can comment down below, I'll give it to you, whatever is the code for writing into a CSV. And there are other ways as well, like this function will, what this function will do is it will directly overwrite. It will not add or uh, yes, it will not add or do any other kind of things. It will directly override. Suppose if I just remove 2 rows from here, okay, or maybe if I just do something else, I take some other, like suppose let's say data, okay, it will not add the things to in data to that output CSV, but it will directly replace whatever is here in the output CSV. Okay, so this is how this to CSV function works. If you want that I should create this another video for this topic, then in detail, so that how writing to files is done. So comment down below, let's see if I can do it. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Have a great day ahead. This was all for today's video. If you actually like the video, hit the like and the subscribe button. Tomorrow we'll be covering this finding the missing values in a dataset and how to deal with it. Okay, so have a great day. Bye bye.